It can be easy to get stuck in a loop and think, I'm going to react to these circumstances. This is what's in my 3D, make assumptions, focus on that, and then it continues to repeat itself in a cycle. But if you can stay persistent and on track, as I'm going to help you guys with in today's video, then it's really going to streamline this manifesting process for you. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we are talking about your specific person and why you might have this assumption or be seeing and reacting to things within your 3D reality about your person not conforming or just manifesting a relationship and not seeing that progress in the way you're focusing on and wanting, and how to actually deal with this, why that assumption can be easily shifted around. So we're delving into that today. Do keep watching. And the final section of this video, as I always structure my videos in this way, is going to explain why the process is perfect and what you can do and are actually already doing to help the manifestation along. So yeah, do thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy. If you want more content like this, I'd love to have you guys part of the community. And on screen before we jump into the content today will be all my coaching info, extra information if you want to work with me, if you want bonus extra content that maybe only members get or clients get, then please do take a look. All the links are below. And now let's start the video. So of course, it's all about your person's thoughts and feelings conforming, the way they feel towards you or dating a relationship. Things build up gradually, and it's certainly not about, forcing someone to have feelings overnight, even if it's something positive and you believe in the relationship, whether it's something brand new or, a literal specific person that you're focusing on. It's not about, I want the results now. So, my person has to fall in love with me overnight. I don't personally believe in that or advocate that, but the natural process is obviously things evolve perfectly and unfold perfectly as they're meant to in the right time, which doesn't mean waiting a long time. And likewise, their thoughts, the opinions they hold, the assumptions that they hold will change. I'm going to delve more into this as we get into the video, because there's a couple other aspects of this where the way they think is genuinely going to shift around as well. So your person's thoughts and feelings conform. And then if you really don't waver much, and I'm not saying obviously you have to believe it, be 100% on this, that's not natural or realistic necessarily. Again, depends where your starting point is, what you're manifesting. But if you don't waver and if you are more or less on track, then they are going to be led towards inspired action. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that the first action and big piece of movement will be maybe them asking you out or them confessing their feelings. Inspired action could lead to things in smaller steps. So just be aware of that, be open to that, because yes, it will probably directly involve you, but it may also be inspired action they're taking with their friends or family that is benefiting the relationship. And of course, tying into all of this, the big final part is that their assumptions and beliefs also change around. They conform. So whether, again, if it's that they just have negative beliefs around dating, their past relationship history, maybe your own conversations, maybe you haven't been in a actual relationship with them yet, and their assumptions and beliefs around all of that, around you specifically, can also shift around. Whatever needs to change will change. And that's why I say in my videos, everyone has a different starting point. It is up to you to kind of recognize and put in the focus if maybe you think, okay, I have these limiting beliefs and these hurdles in the way currently regarding our past history, our dates, our level of commitment, the way SP has spoken to me. Please don't manifest someone who has been, abusive. But if you've just had some negative moments, which is pretty normal, but something maybe disappointing or that has clouded your opinion and positive assumptions about the relationship and dating, you will know that's the root. That's where I put my focus on. That is what I am undoing and replacing with the new story. And part of it is a natural revision where your specific person, if you are starting with negative circumstances, which I have heard from clients, I have seen this, it's not uncommon, they will forget those negative circumstances. They'll, forget what the issue was. They obviously won't hold on to a negative belief or think, we can't date, I don't want to be with this person. All of these worries and concerns holding them back, they will just kind of forget and I guess you could say like reinvent, and it's very malleable. Those assumptions, those memories, the circumstances are very malleable. So to them, they will reframe everything in a healthy, positive way, but you need to persist and stay focused on that positive end result. and their actual words towards you, the behavior, the way they speak to you, the conversations and level of engagement that you have with each other will shift as well. Now, there's no exact timeline. I'm not saying there are rules or an exact format in which all of this occurs, to what extent. Yeah, like I said, everyone has a different starting point, but their words will reflect their feelings and your focus. So if you focus on this commitment, happy relationship, and just everything being on a positive trajectory, focusing on that positive end result goal that you really want, then the way they speak to you will literally start to reflect that. And that's a sign of the movement. A lot of times if people do already have some form of communication, or it comes in along the way before the end result fully forms, people do notice their conversations and interactions with their SP, with their romantic interest, does evolve and improve. And you'll also find that because you're persisting, obviously, to bring in these results, you're shifting your own assumptions, they are more and more consistently reflecting this new version. And in turn, that means you have been focusing and, being consistent with your new version, your mindset, your positive thinking, and undoing the negative thought patterns that brought you to this point. So overall, what they're doing is reflecting your dominant thoughts. So in order to maintain this, have it consistent, bring it into the end result and experience that movement, but just know that you're doing everything correctly. And no matter what is going on right now, no matter what the 3D might look like, that your repetition and the effort that you're putting in is shifting their beliefs, because they are literally reflecting your dominant thoughts. So where your focus goes, it doesn't matter a few negative thoughts here or there, but where your focus goes, that's what's going to be reflected back. So if you spiral, they can pull away. So that is the thing where it can potentially still be up and down as you're on the manifesting journey. You might say, well, these negative circumstances came about, and so I decided to apply manifestation. But if you spiral, if you don't apply self-awareness and just try, and at some point pull yourself out of the wavering mindset and, don't give in to negative assumptions just based on the 3D. Something negative came up and that completely changes your mindset. If you don't give in to that, then they won't, they will stay consistent for the most part, and you will see this consistent trajectory with the end result for your relationship. But they can pull away. They can be hot and cold. So hot and cold is obviously a reflection what's going on internally. That's the ultimate answer and root of why that's happening. So just know that they might be a little bit cold, they might pull away a little bit. Doesn't mean by any means that the manifestation is ruined. You might also be experiencing slower movement. So it may seem that these improvements, the conforming that I just listed out, the conversations, inspired action that maybe they are or aren't taking, it might be slower. It might be maybe increments of a week in between each visible movement or shift in your mindset or a positive realization that you have. It may seem like, why does it seem like nothing's happening? It will look like that consciously, rationally. It will seem like, it's slow, what's going on, nothing's visibly changed, but movement can be slower. So just keep that in mind. But if you're noticing this and then you're questioning it, you're having doubts, that's what's actually slowing it down. So it's like this cycle that I referred to in the introduction. If you give your attention to that and you give it significance, because it's up to you what you place importance on in your 3D reality, you can put your attention elsewhere, apply your mental diet, get back on track with your positive mindset. But if you apply significance to what you're seeing, something negative, something slow, or a lack of something with your relationship with SP, then it's just going to slow it down. It's going to create this cycle of you're noticing something, reacting, maybe labeling it as slow, not there, no movement, these kind of terms. And you're focusing on that and analyzing it, you're taking it on as that assumption in the present moment. And if you keep reacting that way or keep reminding yourself of it without then shifting it back, because sometimes you can't control the thought literally just coming up, but if you're not doing anything to bring it back into a positive, then it's this cycle of you're creating the slower movement because that's what you're telling your mind. So everyone starts at different levels of mental resistance. As I said again at the beginning, we all have different starting points. That's something to remember. There's no rule book or handbook of exactly how everyone has to or will manifest. Everyone unfortunately does start with different negative assumptions, negative memories, things that you need to work through and resolve and just let go of. But because of the resistance, repetition is super important. and you are shaping all your assumptions. So the repetition is doing the, heavy lifting for you. It's delving into the subconscious mind where beliefs are stored, but it takes repetition. And sometimes it takes a little bit more than maybe you anticipate or see other people experiencing. So again, try not to go into this comparison of either past and present or, one person's manifestation versus your own. If you do hold on to it, that will be a reason why maybe you've come to this assumption and conclusion that they're not conforming, something's wrong, you're just not capable of manifesting the relationship, because you are allowing your person to remain in that negative story if you don't, continue applying repetition to create the new version, because you keep repeating those negative circumstances, so you're holding your person back in the old story. And of course, they may very well reflect that and you say, well, that's just them. They initiated it. They, started a negative conversation. They maybe didn't handle the relationship well. It wasn't me and my assumptions. I just saw how they behaved. But don't take their word as a subjective reality. Everything is subjective, especially with human emotion, especially if people speak out of a high, emotional intensity in the moment, then their words especially are not objective or necessarily even a reflection of how they feel. So remember that even if you think, well, this started because of circumstances from SP, doesn't affect the power of your own assumptions and that being reflected in your own personal reality about people, about relationships, about all circumstances, no matter what. So your assumptions can and do shape your 3D reality and the quality of your life. And just because they experienced it, or you say, well, it was from SP, it's also your own assumptions and your reflection of those, circumstances and conversations and experiences with your SP that are shaping everything. So you have the power, even if it seems like, okay, they already felt that way, they spoke to me that way in the past, it doesn't matter. What you're seeing right now, and even if it feels like, well, that is proof that they're not conforming, they are just acting out your assumptions, and oftentimes the old assumptions. Your 3D is not this instant reflection. It's not a mirror reflection where you look at it and that is exactly how it is and what you're seeing. It's delayed. It's like an old mirror reflection from maybe, 5 minutes ago. And, the mirror's being held up to you and that's what you're seeing. It's not an instant reflection. So they will conform, it will come together. But what you're seeing right now is perhaps that they're just acting out those older assumptions. So if you persist, they have to start conforming or continue conforming. Even if there's been a bump in the road, which is totally normal and fine, especially with human relationships, they will continue to conform. It will come together the way you're focused on if you maintain that focus. So shift your attention away from the circumstances because they're, again, not objective. They're not oftentimes still present in your current reality, or at the very least not visible. So why put your attention to that? Why hold that on a pedestal and hold that as, the king and follow everything that those circumstances showed you? You're in the present moment. Every second is a moment, forward into your potential future. You're moving constantly ahead in time. And it's a good thing because at any moment you can say, well, I recognize this negative assumption and I want to change it. I'm going to let it go. So remind yourself of the key principles of manifesting and do not discredit the work that you've already put in. No doubt you've already made progress. You've at least attempted to shift your thought patterns, mindset, which is more than the average person does because this obviously is not a normal way to think or go about, thought patterns and reactions throughout your day. But at the very least, you've already shifted that first step forward towards the end result. And remember that the momentum from your affirmations, from repetition, is built up with consistency. If you're affirming, you are creating movement. So reassure yourself again with that key principle, but the momentum does get built up moment by moment. So oftentimes it's not this sudden instant shift. And overall, your SP reflects where your focus goes. So don't perpetuate those old negative circumstances, the old story, even if it was just, again, like I said, maybe tied to dating or relationship history. Don't let that hold you back or muddy, the present waters, so to speak. You can create any quality of relationship you want, and you should absolutely be having the most happy, positive, healthy relationship. So you can create that, and don't let yourself be held back by those past negative circumstances. This video is getting quite long now, so I think I'm going to finish up here, but I hope that was useful and gave you guys a great new perspective. If you enjoyed, do thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys next time.